Greetings, Otaku faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all yet again another Discussion of the Week video segment right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly. As always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Discussion of the Week video segment. But before I jump into this week's topic, I want to go ahead and remind you all to pledge to my comic book miniseries Totems on Kickstarter.com. We have less than 6 days remaining to receive pledges, and though I have already reached my goal, I can always use more. The deal with the $2,000 goal is that was my absolute minimum, not my absolute maximum. I can always make more, I just couldn't make any less. So for those of you all who have yet to pledge, feel free to do so, link annotated on the video above. And for those of you all who would like to pledge but can't, please feel free to share the link to spread the word. As I said, I could use every cent I get. Comic books is a very expensive business. Yeah. Gonna leave it at that. But now let's jump into this week's Discussion of the Week topic. And this week's topic comes from my fellow YouTuber and fellow Game of Thrones reviewer, House of Targaryen. And his suggestion is this: Discussion of the Week. Parenting and censorship. How do you feel about parents relying on too many outside entities to teach their children? Examples: other people, television, video games, literature, etc. Parents blaming these mediums for the negative acts that impressionable people do, and them trying to get rid of it altogether. Do you believe that parents should take a more active role in their children's lives? Okay. This topic is actually long overdue. It's been a long time coming, and I had a feeling it was just a matter of time, because the last two Discussion of the Week topics that I did, I had to address parents in regards to those week's topics and how they relate to children, and therefore how they relate to children's parents. So it was just a matter of time before we got to this topic. But because this might come across as relatively controversial, I don't even know if it will be, but I just want to go out and put a disclaimer out there to anyone. I think at this point in time, anyone watching my video who follows my channel should know what you're getting yourself into. So you have been warned right here and now. This may be somewhat controversial. I'm not saying it will be. It may be, if the discussion goes in that route. And number two, just to give you all a frame of reference, first and foremost, I am not a parent. I want to repeat that one more time. I am not a parent. My thoughts, opinions, and views on this matter come from, number one, personal experience of me growing up as a child. Number two, observations from fellow friends and family members who are parents. And also observations from stories and other people's experiences. So that's where my frame of reference for my thoughts on this topic will come from. Are we all on the same page with that? Do you all understand? Okay, now let me address this topic. Okay, so first and foremost, how do I feel about parents relying on too many outside entities to teach their children? Let me put it to you like this. The tools that are mentioned in this topic are exactly that. They are tools, okay? Other people, other family members, friends, friends closest to the family. Okay? Television, video games, literature, etc. Those are tools. I want to go ahead and repeat myself when I say those are tools that can be very formidable with parenting. They can be very useful, but they are just that. They are tools. They are in no shape, form, or fashion substitutes for a parent in a household. It doesn't work, okay? There are many things that other people, such as other family members and other friends, can teach children. I would even go as far as to say that that is probably the most powerful tool in raising children, is extended family and friends, because it reinforces that old statement that it takes a village to raise a child, you know? And I personally think, based off of observations, based off of my other friends who have grown up in these type of households, the households that have, you know, the grandparent in the household, that has, you know, both parents, that have older siblings, hell, they might even have a cousin or an uncle or an aunt living with them. I think those are very productive households. I'm not saying every household is like that, because you do have the dysfunctional ones, but what I'm saying is having close friends and family around your children, you know? I mean, when I'm talking about like the close friends where, for an example, shout out to my man AJ, you know, my good friend AJ is a proud parent for roughly about 2 years now, and already I view his kid as my nephew. I say, hey, you know, Uncle Larry, you know, got something for you. You see what I'm saying? Even something like that. Godparents, having the godparents play an active role in the child's life. All that is a very powerful tool. But once again, it is a tool. It is in no shape, form, or fashion supposed to substitute for parenting, okay? The same thing for like television. I won't say video games. Me personally, I think that the number of video games that aren't useful to a child's development dwarf the number of video games that actually are. You know, educational video games are such a small part of the video game industry as a whole that I won't even regard video games as helpful tools. I mean, they can be, you know, the Leapfrog series, those can be helpful, but I won't regard those in this discussion. No, I won't. But I mean, even things like books, of course. What do I keep saying in these videos? People need to read more. The problem is not enough people are reading. But once again, books do not substitute for parenting. The same thing with television. There are television programs that can be very helpful for children, but they do not substitute for parenting, okay? You do not just sit the kid in front of the television and let that be it. And I'm speaking from personal experience this time around. You don't just sit the kid in front of the television and leave them there, okay? That doesn't fucking cut it for parenting, okay? Now, parents blaming these mediums for the negative acts that impressionable people do. Okay, let me put it to you like, okay, as I mentioned in last week's discussion, this is how it works. Parents, pay attention, because this is how it works, okay? I find it highly ironic that a parent will go ahead and sit their kid in front of the TV or sit their kid in front of the video game, and most importantly, let's not forget, parents who do not screen the material that their children are being exposed to, okay? I cannot stress this enough. I find it highly ironic that parents will do this shit, right? But then, when their kids turned out fucked up, then they want to go ahead and blame the shit that they put their kids down in front of. That's not the medium's fault, okay? That is not the child's fault. Mommy, daddy, that's your fucking fault. You should have got off your fat ass and did some goddamn parenting, okay? You don't sit your kid in front of the fucking television or in front of a video game and expect that to raise your fucking child, okay? Nor do you try and blame the fucking medium when you don't do your job at screening the fucking material. I'm going to say that one more fucking time in case my point isn't coming across clear enough. Get off your fat ass and do some goddamn parenting. Stop blaming everybody else for your child's problem, okay? There's a quote from the Karate Kid that I love to quote that Mr. Miyagi says. He says there's no such thing as a bad student, only a bad teacher. And I think in regards to children, the same thing applies. I think at root nature, at general human nature, when you create a child, there is no such thing as a bad child, only bad fucking parents or bad role models, okay? I'm not saying that and hang on a minute. I'm not saying that every bad person in the history of existence necessarily had bad parents. No, of course people lose their way as they grow older. But I'm talking about if you have a child that misbehaves, if you have a child that is depressed, or is that, and I don't understand how the fuck a kid can be depressed, okay? I'm still having a hard time grasping that concept of how a child can be depressed. But shit does happen, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for the time being. Doesn't quite make sense to me, but I acknowledge that these things tend to happen. And kids that are emotionally disturbed or shit like that. Kids who have severe self-esteem issues. Kids who fall victim to bullying. Kids who grow up being bullies. All this shit. I think when you're talking about a child, especially when you're talking about an infant, toddler, adolescent, and juvenile especially, I can't help but point the finger at mommy and daddy. Why? Because the shit comes from somewhere. It doesn't just spring up on its own. The shit leaves trails. It leaves breadcrumbs. It has a root foundation somewhere. And more often than not, it has to do with the fucking parents. Whew. For fuck's sake, people. Okay, and do you believe that parents should take a more active role in their children's lives? That goes without saying. Abso-fucking-lutely. I mean, do I really have to sit here and talk about, how, I mean, for fuck's sake, man, the nuclear family as it exists is fucking diminishing at a rapid pace. Honestly, guys, you all cannot fathom my reaction when I found out that the vast majority of my friends that I'm around now, when they look at me and they're like, Larry, you grew up with both parents in your household? I say, yeah. Well, up until I was 11. And they say, wow, man, that's weird. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's weird? Because I thought that was normal. Shit, when my parents got divorced, I thought that was weird. But apparently not. Why? Because the nuclear family model no longer exists. It's dying out at an astonishing rate. How many motherfucking single parent households exist nowadays? And I said single parent. I did not say single mother, because this is another topic, but I want to go ahead for a brief moment and all I'm saying is the single dads do not get enough fucking credit. They are almost absolutely ignored. So keep in mind when I said single parent, not single mother, not single father. I'm not fucking ignoring either one, okay? But ladies, yeah, the single dad does exist, okay? Get off your bullshit and thinks that no man wants to take care of his children, because that is bullshit, okay? The single dads do exist. Shit, where my fucking single dad theme song at? We don't got one of those. It's bullshit. Anyway, but so getting back on topic, yeah, the nuclear model, it's dying out. It's dying out rapidly, okay? And and of course the rate of divorce at this point in time is ridiculous. Our policy, okay, I'm only going to comment on the U.S. policy about marriage and divorce and shit, but our fucking marriage system is a goddamn revolving door, okay? People get married and divorced every day, okay? My point for bringing that up is that all this shit has negative repercussions on the child. Speaking from personal experience, the shit can be damaging, depending on the age of the child. But do parents need to take a more active role? Absolutely, okay? Now I understand that, in today's society, and especially in today's modern American economy, it's tough. Why? I mean, you got, even with two-parent households, you got mommy and daddy out all day because they gotta have multiple jobs just to make ends meet. Child care, it's not cheap, even though surprisingly child care is actually on the rise. There are more people getting into like out of home daycares and stuff like that. That's actually a growing market. Is out of home daycares, and babysitting services. That's actually on the rise. But this shit does cost money. It is expensive. I understand that. I understand all those things. But at the same time, let me put it to you like this. If the odds against parents are stacked up so much higher, then that just means that's a bigger hurdle that parents are going to have to get over. Now you could say, well, Larry, that's unfair. Don't give me that shit, okay? The world is unfair, all right? When life gives you motherfucking lemons, god damn it, you got to find a way to make lemonade or lemon meringue pie. Anyway, but so that whole idea that, well, Larry, you can't just say that shit, that's unfair, bullshit. Because at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck what life throws at you. As a parent, you have an innate responsibility to do whatever the fuck you have to do that is in the best interest of your child, of your offspring. Your number one mission in life, and I know a lot of people are going to flip the fuck out about this, but let me tell you this first and foremost. When you become a parent, your number one mission in life, when that child is brought into this world, is to see to the upbringing, the development, the raising, and the well-being of that child. That's it. I don't want to hear anything else. That's your number one job. That's all the fuck you have to do. That's it. I'm tired of hearing all this bullshit about, well, mama gotta have a life too. No, you don't. No, you don't. You have to take care of that fucking kid. If you are going out partying every fucking night, not knowing what the fuck your kid is, you're fucking up. Okay? Fellas, if you fucking, do I really have to go into if you ditch your fucking kid? I'm sorry. I don't even think I have to go into that discussion. Do we really need to address that bullshit? Alright? Fellas, you're fucking up. You ain't doing a good enough job pulling that bullshit, alright? Don't bring children in this world if you can't fucking take care of them. I'm not going to say that again. I'm sorry. That shit just infuriates me. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. I'll break my... Motherfuckers get under my skin with that shit. I can't stand that shit. Punk ass parents. That's what the motherfuckers are. Punk ass, pussy ass parents. Can't stand them motherfuckers. I detest those ass clowns. And they wonder why we got so many fucked up kids nowadays. And like I said, I'm not talking about the parents who do try their best and the shit just doesn't work out in their favor. That's not what I'm talking about at all. Because what are you going to do? Okay? I mean, honestly, if you actually do try your best and the shit just doesn't work out, then what else? I mean, you've done all that you could possibly have done. You see what I'm saying? That's through no fault of your own. You know? And a lot of parents beat themselves up over that shit. But I mean, at that point in time, if you've done everything you possibly could and your kid still came up a fucking idiot, then I don't know what to say for you. I mean, you've done your job. If you did everything you could do, I mean, you can't really ask for more than that. But if you didn't do all you could do, so just in case y'all guys think I'm just fucking completely, going off the deep end about this shit. I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about the parents who actually do their fucking job. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about the ones who put forth the effort. I'm not talking about the ones who bust their ass to to try to do right by their kids. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the other fuck-ups. The legion of fuck-ups. Alright, I'm done. That'll do it for this week's discussion of the week topic. In the comments below, guys, suggest next week's topic and thumb up the ones you want to see. Coming out later this weekend will be my comic book review of Blade, which I'm actually looking forward to because that's one of my favorite comic book movies. Love that. Love Blade. Been a fan of Blade since I was, what, 12? And my Smallville season 3 review. But that'll do it for me. This has, once again, don't forget, we got 6 days left before the Kickstarter project closes. 6 days left to gain as many pledges and as much funds as we can possibly get within the next 6 days. So let's go ahead and try to make this like the last push. See how high, like I said, met the goal, but the goal was the minimum. It's not the maximum. I can always raise more than the goal. I just couldn't raise less than it. But now that the goal's been met, let's see how high we can get. Let's see how high we can get before, before the parachute comes loose. You feel me? Or would it rather be, let's see how fast we can go before the parachute. Anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. Let's see how far we can take this thing before the project closes. 6 days left. Once again, link annotated above. That's going to do it for me. This has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'm signing off, and until next time, peace.